Hi, I'm Joanne Cary. Welcome back to Embodied Soul Podcast, a multidimensional space intended to support you in living, being, and thriving as the embodied soul you are. In this week's episode, I want to talk a little bit more about what feels like dark energies, control, manipulation that's coming up for people right now, why it's coming up for you right now, and what you can do to best handle it as we walk through September and the eclipse portals, and all the ways that we are being asked to close off chapters and leave stuff that just is not ours in the past. So if you're ready to join me, please pull up a comfy chair, invite in your soul, and be open to receive exactly what you need to live, be, and thrive as the embodied soul you are. A number of people have come forth to me around speaking about how they feel like maybe someone has put a spell on them, how there might be an entity attached to them, maybe how they're just feeling like there's these patterns that they don't even understand that seem to be playing out. There seems to be some confusion. They seem to not be making some connections that have seemed so easy in the past but now are not. Maybe you're feeling gaslit and you don't even understand what's going on, that you're not being understood, you're not being listened to, you're not being heard. All of these things are coming up right now because these are multidimensional control, influence, manipulation technologies that have been playing out across incarnations for hundreds and thousands of years. So hundreds of years and or thousands of years. And the time has come right now in our evolution of humanity to release these technologies, to see them for what they are, how they're playing out in your current day incarnation, how they very much seem like they are part of who you are and your experience, and yet being able to take a step back and realize they're actually, in most cases, not. That they actually are deriving from other incarnations, other soul fragments of your broader oversoul that are being carried from incarnation to incarnation. So I just want to rewind a little bit to provide a bit of context for me. 53 years old, started my awakening 2018 with some precursors to that, but really actively in 2018, open to spirit. And for the most part, my process of awakening has been amazing. It's been joyful. It has been connection. It has been expansive. And yes, there's been digging into the beliefs, the patterns, the indoctrinations, the things like that that were limiting, that were keeping me feeling stuck and that there was more to life. But ultimately, it's been a really great experience. And I know that that's not it for everybody. But I understand now that that was very much part of my process, what I've chosen in order to be able to navigate through what I'm experiencing now. And that's why this part of this topic is so important for right now. So back on May 1st, I said yes to an invitation to be a part of a co-creation of a book called Get Ready, They're Here, Preparing for Open Contact, a guide for humanity in the time of awakening. And the book is now out on Kindle. It'll be out in paperback and hardcover shortly. But from the time that I said yes to this book, which I initially had great resistance to, because it's like, what does that even mean? Open contact? That's like ETs. That's not my thing. I talk to higher dimensional beings and angels and galactic cancels, and it has nothing to do with sort of ETs as we've been taught in the social media to believe, or what we see in our sci-fi movies. But from that time, there has been a revealing that my divine self, my higher self, have been showing me. I've been going through major training cycles, major learning lessons through my dream and liminal space experiences where I will be shown in one night, experiencing it in my body. So for those of you who are new to me, I experience things primarily in my physical body, although I'm also clairaudient and clairvoyant, but it's the feeling of the energies that really had me wanting to connect to spirit, because it felt so good, it felt so expansive. And there was a communication that happened through that sense feeling that was undeniable, that it was just so absolutely apparent to me that we are more than we think that we are, or were taught that we were, and that we have ongoing engaged conversations with our guides, with beings that are supporting us living this life. But what I was started to be shown are things and experience. This is the whole thing. I got to experience it in my body, and at times I woke up scared because there was these feelings in my body. There was images that I received in my mind that seemed controlling to me and that I couldn't stop. I then later, in the next nights, I see how they're playing out within incarnations in other lifetimes. And then I began to say, oh, that's what I experienced in my body. And then my higher self says, yes, like we needed you to be able to experience it in your body on Earth right now in order for you to be able to heal it, to clear it, in order to support others in it. But my God, guys, like there's a lot of different energetic technologies that have been influencing how we perceive our reality, how we engage with it, how we engage with others, and some of it downright controlling. And I would even beg to say, violating our free will. A lot of it's not. A lot of it's influence. A lot of it shows up in our societies as what we would label as mental health disorders, as what we would label as addiction, as in all levels, whether it's sexual addictions, betrayals, gambling, being confused, like where gaslighting comes up, where you know something's happened, but now all of a sudden it's not right and people are calling you crazy or saying that something didn't happen that did. All of these being shown to me in various ways that have been influencing. Now, here's the thing. This is not just an individual challenge that we're dealing with here. And this is in no way intended for fear, right? This is simply, we need right now, and this is why it's so important right now as I'm recording this at the beginning of September. It's so important right now because we are going into the 999 portal. We are heading through the eclipse season, so we're looking to release things. We're closing chapters. We are moving into our true divine blueprint. My guides just brought through yesterday the diamond seal activation, bringing us into our diamond lattice so that we can operate, live, and be as the living light, as the living diamond light, in its stability, in its harmonic coherence, in its ability to run high-level frequencies and live from that place. But nothing of these distortion technologies, of these control and manipulation technologies can move past this seal. None of them can be brought into this next level of being that we are moving into. And we have to be able to recognize it. Okay, maybe we don't. I'm going to take that back because I don't know that for sure. What I do know is that, like I mentioned in, I think it was last week's episode of Embodied Soul, I talk about Rumpelstiltskin, and it is Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin, when someone names his name, the spells that he casts, the contracts that we made, they are null and void. They dissolve once we can name him. This is exactly what happens in our world right now around our patterns, our beliefs, the limitations, any control, distortion, spell, whatever is happening in your world. Anything that feels like you don't have agency, you don't have choice, that things aren't going that way, we can, as we see the pattern, as we see the distortion, once we identify it, we become aware of it. And this isn't new. I've talked about this ages and ages. This just puts a different lens or a different angle on it to support people who are going through what feels like a really, really dark time. That you're seeing it right now because you need to see it. Not because you are being controlled, not because you are under someone else's control. You're seeing it now because it's up for release. It's enough is enough. Most of these technologies we've been bringing through over and over again, incarnation after incarnation for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, building on each other, pulling us deeper and deeper down into the depths of the third dimension. And now is the time. We are in a completion cycle, and we are being supported in the energetics, both galactically, on the planetary, and in our personal, and we're clearing our ancestral. Like, we are doing work across all of those layers because now is the time for humanity to make the shift. And here's the thing. What I've been shown is these technologies are primarily been used in another lifetime, which is how we've got to where we are, how we've come back to this particular time in order to put an end to it, to stop it, to end the cycle. We're ending cycles here, people. Each one of us. No one is doing this for the planet. Do you understand? Like, no one person is saving the planet. We are the resurrection. We are the Christ consciousness returned to right the fall. We're here right now in order to end the cycles that have happened within our own lineage, our own families, our own ancestries, and our own incarnations. And we have brought with us these vibrational tones in our field to be opened and unlocked now. Some have been having these patterns open for a while. If you awakened some time ago, you've been dealing with these patterns. And I send you so much love and light and gratitude for you persisting and continuing on when it seemed like you could not get out of the cycle. Because that's what I felt through a couple of my nighttime experiences where I was shown one more skin suit. And it was like 17,000 something. And I was like so excited to come to Earth in this beautiful time. And then I saw the technology in the body that I was going to be incarnating in. And I was disappointed, and I was sad, and I was upset, and I was angry. Yet I was shown two things in that. Yes, I was shown the technology, the manipulation and control technology, but I was also shown the golden feather architecture, the divine blueprint, the true diamond lattice, if you want to call it that. And we had a choice. We have a choice in this lifetime. We can continue down the path. We can remain asleep. We can continue to be in manipulation and control. Or we can remember who we are. And we can see the patterns that aren't ours, but that we're playing out in this lifetime, don't you get? Because we needed to play it out in this lifetime in a lesser degree. Every lifetime we've been trying to clear these. And so we're seeing lesser and lesser of the distortion, but like the onion that we see as we're trying to clear a belief, it still has to be there. I recognized a really huge one play out in my own life around a period of time at the corporate environment where I was in, where there was a bully, a narcissist, I would dare say a sociopath who worked his way through the system, traumatized a lot of people, ended up going through a court case and all of these things. That was just a mild example in this lifetime, in my lived example, of something that's happening on a much more galactic, a larger human perspective. And this is why so many in our spiritual community feel isolated. Even sometimes within the spiritual community itself, is that these control mechanisms have evolved, have developed mimicry towards our spiritual communities, our spiritual thoughts, the things that we believe in, to make them feel just almost like the original, so that we get lulled into a false sense of spirit. We get lulled into complacency, a new level, a new realm of asleepness in the awakened space. And like that was a bit of a mind blow too, when you see reflected outside spiritual teachers change perspectives, maybe do things that seem a bit dissonant to what we believe, but are following threads of what we've been learning as we awaken. And this is why it is absolutely so critical. And the guides have been running me through training cycles. Like I've made reference to like the Rambo training cycle, right? Of the montage of lessons to understand discernment. The only person who knows the answer to something is you. You are the only one who knows about you. You can ask outside of you, but that can be hugely challenging right now because of the distortion lenses, because of the most well-meaning hearts sharing what they're seeing, but they might be looking through one of the distortion lenses that basically fragments up their reality, where they can only focus on certain things and can't make the larger picture connections. We have to anchor down into our own knowing. We have to anchor down into our own innate wisdom. We get to practice over and over that connection, and it's getting easier and easier. But you got to do the work. You know, you have to give yourself the space, the time, the stillness to connect, to understand. What does your guides of the highest feel like? What does your body do in certain circumstances? When does it contract? When does it expand? When does something feel right or wrong? And what do you do in those circumstances? Do you listen to yourself? Self-trust was a huge thing that came up in this for me. When I realized that over lifetimes, I kind of was made to believe that I was making the wrong decision, that the decision that I made had dire consequences, and it made me question myself. It made me lack trust in myself. And yet over and over I've been shown this is what truth feels like. This is what distortion feels like. This is what truth feels like. This is what control feels like and looks like and is experienced and how it's experienced. Because now we get to stand in our sovereignty and our truth. We get to be fully in trust with ourselves. Because when we are so anchored in the truth of our own being, these distortions cannot hold. And the higher in frequency we get, the more they dissolve. They cannot hold. They cannot come with us. They will not come with us. And then the other thing that I mentioned to the group yesterday that my guide shared with me is just like people who lose a limb can have phantom limb, like they can still feel something that's gone. One of the kind of distortion lenses is this claiming it back. Like our bodies have the imprint. Our neural networks have an imprint of what we've believed over this lifetime, as well as over other lifetimes that we've brought in with us. And we may clear something out of our system, but then in the next few days, we may be feeling that exact same thing happening. And that pulls us into fear, going, oh my gosh, I have no control to get rid of this. My intentions don't work to release this. No matter what I do, this thing is following me around. It's still happening. It didn't work. I've done something wrong. All of those things. And that's untrue. It's a lie. Right now, in this energy, as you give yourself permission to see what's coming up, what are the patterns that are playing out, when you anchor in the intention that you're willing to release what you see, you name it, you recognize it, you choose to release it, it will go. You may still feel a bit of that phantom effect. And in that moment, when you recognize that it's coming back, recognize it as the phantom. Say to yourself, whisper to yourself, to your consciousness, to your body, to your cells, this is just phantom. It is gone, it is cleared, and this is clearing too. The phantom will release over time. Just like as we recreate the neural networks in our brain, we reprogram ourselves, we reprogram our brains to let that old pattern go away. We are moving into true sovereignty. We're learning how to be as the divine self in form. All of the things that I share in this podcast are things for us to utilize, tools for us to utilize, examples for us to understand and see what might be coming up that maybe we've given another label or another name to. Because we are so powerful. We are so strong. Our light is alchemical. And yet we've been laying in the mud of energies for lifetimes. And that's ending. We've awakened into a certain degree, but this is an ongoing journey. This is lifting to higher and higher frequencies. And at each level of higher frequencies, we become more the truth of who we are, in form, as high as we can get in form. And it means that we have to clear the old distortions that have been coming along with us. We have to clear the old patterns, the old structures, the old architectures, clearing the old technologies. And that's what we're doing right now. So if you are, when you listen to this, experiencing any of this, and even if you're not, just put a little sticky note in your mind to become aware of it, a little intention to become aware if anything that I've said right now becomes true for you in the months to come. Because we're in another 6-month cycle where we're still going to be feeling the effects of the eclipse. We're still going to be feeling the effects of the energies and of the closing, the chapters, the endings, and the new beginning starting. And even though it sometimes seems like that's all we're asked to do is to release, look at it more like my guide said, look at it more of a revealing. That we can change the perspective from we're releasing all of this stuff to we're revealing more of who we truly are. In each day we're becoming brighter. Each day we're becoming more of the living light walking in form. Each day we're becoming more alchemical. And so each day that we choose to choose the higher, as we choose to let go of the patterns, we're actually becoming more light. We are becoming more of ourselves. We are becoming the living lattice of light in form, the true creator beings that we are in form. I thank you for walking this path with me, for being here, for listening. Take what resonates, leave the rest, as always. That is why I ask you to bring in your soul each time I come on here, so that you get exactly what you need and nothing more. If you have loved this episode of Embodied Soul, please like it, share it, turn on notifications, and subscribe to my channel. It helps get the messages and energies out to those who need it. And I look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of Embodied Soul.